Video of German Bundesliga football, Bundesliga 1 and 2 on 26th of November in 2019. So, first Bundesliga played 12th match day, Bundesliga 2 played 14th match day, and we did have some bets, or I proposed some bets here for you, and we have to check out the results and we have to check out the quality. And that's more or less it. And I tried to get through a bit quicker, and maybe you appreciate that as well in amount of views, or you just like it a bit more than you used to because it took too long. Okay, anyway, so this is the review. This is in German language, so what would you need this for? Game by game analysis, looking at the game stats. We check out the quality of the bets and we evaluate the bets in the end. And here we get the results, and I'm somehow in the way. And maybe you remember those results, and we check them in a lot more detail a bit later. We look at the goal average. We once again had plenty of goals, 34 goals. This is an average of 3.78. Of course, there had been some freak results and some other surprises or weird I don't know the word at the moment. Games at least I can say. Anyway, I mean, we have some clear wins, which may, in some cases, if Bayern win 4-0, you don't think anything weird about it. But if Leipzig win 4-1 against Köln, that sounds pretty regular. But if Augsburg beat Hertha by 4 goals to 0, or Hoffenheim lose to Mainz by 1-5, that sounds pretty strange. We look at the home advantage and try to make use of that, or we keep an eye on that in any case, and my parameters will take care of that. And now here is the very detailed, in-depth analysis of the game. The game stats are translated. I have the expected game stats translated into expected goals. This is what I expected for the home sides. This is how many chances, more or less, or situations that I count in terms of crosses, shots, on and off target, corners, possession. That's pretty much it. So Dortmund in the end produced even some more. Still, you could say, well, 3 goals, as many as they scored, that had been more or less what had been what they deserved. But if Paderborn do not really produce any more than one may have expected, it just went a very regular way. Not the result, but the game itself. But of course, Paderborn were up by 3 goals pretty early on, and like this, they may have given the stats away. But anyway, they didn't produce any more chances than expected. Werder, as soon as you look at this value here, as long as it is a plus, it means home side had been better than expected. If you want to know who was better, you have to check here. This is how much they should have scored, and this is how much Schalke should have scored. So actually, Werder had been a bit closer to winning, but Schalke did win. And it also, Werder outclassed or beat the what I expected. So they were even better than I thought. Leverkusen-Freiburg, here clearly the edge went to Leverkusen, who should have won the game by a pretty clear margin, by 2 goals almost, but it was a 1-1 in the end. Düsseldorf actually made a good job and, didn't do much wrong. They even created some more chances than expected. Bayern also created some more. In the end, of course, you can say, because Bayern were winning pretty early on, and like that, they didn't care so much about the stats, or, they were just winning. Frankfurt, that's one of those very weird results when you see they produced so much and so much more. I mean, Dortmund you wouldn't count because that was the 0-3 halftime score, or within the first half when they scored all the goals. This one you wouldn't count. Leverkusen could count as a strange game, weird result, something like that. But 1-1, of course, that's, well, Leverkusen will not be happy, of course, but it's better than losing. But Frankfurt, for example, they created for one more goal chances almost, and they conceded even less, and they lost by 0-2, and they played against 10 men. Okay, that may have helped their stats. It didn't help the result. Anyway, Gladbach were slightly better than expected, but I was pretty optimistic about Union, and they did get the result. They did get the 1-0 pretty early on, or somewhere in the first half at least. And so you wouldn't really say that was not a deserved good result. I mean, Gladbach at any point could have scored, but the chances were not so many, and well, okay. It was not such an unlucky, not such an upset, especially when you look at how many games they won before that they may have lost as well or shouldn't have won. Okay, Leipzig was as clear as the result tells us, or it was even a bit clearer here. But anyway, they deserved a comfortable win, which they got. Hertha also didn't play well, or Augsburg played better, but Hertha lost a player, but were down by 2 goals already, so that was no good. You can't count that as a good effort, of course. It was a deserved home win. But here it's like the Frankfurt game, very similar, that Hoffenheim created even a lot more than that, and even worse, they lost by 4 goals and Frankfurt just by 2. But anyway, watching the game didn't give me the expression they were so much better. They were pressing, pushing, and so on, everything, also against 10 men at some point. But well, the stats sometimes can be not misleading, I would say, but sometimes you still have, while watching, you have a slightly different impression, maybe, that you think, well, how would they even start to score 1 goal? But after they had the 1-3 after 83 minutes, you still would have imagined, well, well, could still be 3-3 like the Dortmund game. Instead, they conceded 2 more. Anyway, here are the stats for the games, which you do not maybe care too much for, and they have been translated already, so I tried to get through a bit quicker here. You can stop here, pause here, anywhere, and check that. The shots were pretty okay for just to go through quickly. On target were pretty okay for Paderborn, both these. In corners and crosses, it was clearly in favor of Dortmund, and also possession. This is crosses, this is corners, this is shots on, this is shots off, or that's total shots, sorry. And here's what I expected: old system, new system, and that's what they played. It's all in some decent range, except for the result. But that one we discussed already. Werder lost to Schalke, they shouldn't. 16-10, 3-6, that's in favor of 1-3, it's also in favor of Schalke, but not so meaningful. 13-5 crosses, that's a lot in favor of Werder. And possession was, well, it still translates into a slight edge that Werder did manage to create, so they shouldn't have lost. A draw would have been fair. Anyway, in Leverkusen-Freiburg, we have 27-7, that's what I said, but it's not even that far away from what I expected. 10-2, also not amazingly far away. 13-3, yeah, well, look at that, it's not even a big difference. And crosses, that's the one, but also not that far apart. I mean, the computer was pretty good on that, in general. Okay, possession, they had a bit more tackles as well. 2.07, that's what I expected. That's what the old system, that's what the new system said. That's what they played. And that was a little more. They didn't get the win they should have got. But anyway, we discussed that already. 12-18 shots is pretty okay for Düsseldorf. 1-6, that's not so good. They didn't find the target. 8-6 corners, that's once again pretty good. Crosses is very good for them, 12-15, it's better than expected. Possession is to Bayern. Tackles here, 1.02, 2.66, 1.25, 1.99. New system was very optimistic about them, but it was pretty right, because that's the sets they played at. You can argue 11th, 27th, 34th, Fourth minute, that's game over more or less, so they didn't care. 0-4. Everyone would say that's a comfortable, easy win and very good performance by Bayern. I wouldn't doubt it too much, but I would also argue in favor of Düsseldorf a bit. That's 79, 10-6. That's all the 12-1 corners, 29-5 crosses. Possession, 26%. Okay against 10 men, but still it's just massive. And new system was pretty good, but they produced even a lot more than that. Couldn't win though, we had a bet on that. Okay, they lost instead. 11-12, that's okay for Union, although very small edge here. 7-5, that's also okay, comparing also, well, how close I got to what I expected. So computer is pretty good. Corners was here very good, but they didn't get there. 4 corners, 12-12, that's close enough. 39.34, okay, they had a goal after 15 minutes, so they didn't care so much about possession. 1.16, 1.52 is what I expected. In old system, 1.38, 1.64. New system was even seeing some better chances for Union, which they actually, well, didn't quite prove, but it's good enough comparing to both these. And if you see the result was on their side and still the stats had been pretty okay, you wouldn't argue too much about such a win. 26, that is massive. 8-1, that's massive. 13-3, so in all areas, that's more or less fulfilling what one may have expected. 65 possession was even clearly more on Leipzig's side. Old and new was a bit slight bigger edge to Leipzig, and it was right because the edge was even bigger. So 4-1 is a pretty fair result. In Augsburg Hertha, we don't need to argue too much about this one. It's close enough, but 10 men and clear result, 18-27. So red card didn't mean too much anymore. I thought Hertha was slightly better, new system even more. They didn't play so like that, but they also lost the player. So 4-0, comfortable win, not too much to argue. 20-11, pretty massive. 11-7, also better than, but here you can say Mainz didn't do much wrong. 14-3 corners, okay, clearly in their favor. 11-6, close enough, but still an edge to Hoffenheim. Possession also a bit more than expected, and also in tackles they were better. 1 goal better, old system, a bit more than 1 goal, new system thought. 1.5 goals more or less that they played. They proved during the game. They lost by 4 goals, so that's pretty upside down. Now we have the start ranking here. I'm just showing that quickly, just to show you that Leipzig in fact did manage to keep a small edge over Bayern, while Dortmund, of course, they fell behind a bit. They may have been, or expected, people said so, to be closer, and not even counting Leipzig too much as a contender. But it turned out to be they maybe, but it's only after 12 games, so there's a lot more to play. Sorry for that. You see that Paderborn firmly rooted now down here, but still 1 or 2 more good games, and they could easily attack these two. Augsburg, Mainz, of course, both with very good wins. That's why they overtook Paderborn, who still had a good result. All of these had good results, while Hertha fell behind with a 0-4. Also Köln with that defeat. Union made some ground here, maybe, but they are pretty okay. 0.82, and who would say they are, well, worse or better than Köln? You could hardly argue. Düsseldorf maybe is a little surprise here, but once again the effort was not all that bad. Freiburg very high in table and ranking, not quite there, but also not terrible. And Werder, Hoffenheim slightly better than that. I mean, anyone could argue about it, but that's what the computer has right now. As that's what the Gladbach nowhere near the top, and still Frankfurt ahead of them, and Bayern, Leverkusen not really to challenge in that place. Home ranking, I'm just giving that here, and maybe I lead it a lot more for the preview, but just showing it here quickly. If you want to pause it here and check it. Plus means you want them, if they play at home, you go against them when they play on the road. And down here it would mean against them when they are at home and support them when they are away. We had Schalke draw no bet, we had Düsseldorf plus 2.25, all of them no good. Frankfurt, good bet, but lost. Union, a winner, that's a sad one, very sad one. We lost 1-9 here, and so nothing too spectacular, too quality. Here I said that's neutral because they actually had the stats on their side. Result too clearly against them already early on, so I'm counting that. And that's also a 1-5 loss to say you had a good bet. But at any point, Hoffenheim could have started to open the scoring, and anyway, it could have gone completely differently, I'm saying. But I can't count it a good one, although the stats would clearly say so. But it wouldn't be fair to count it a bad one. That's why I do it like that. You can doubt that, but we want wins anyway, and we are not getting them right now. Werder, we had the over. Okay, Werder scored a goal, so we had half a win. The under was half lost. Here was the under was lost, of course, with already in the first half. And this over was a winner, although it was not a good one, which you see here. That's you had to track back, and but I'm doing that very fairly on the goals, total goals they produced chances for. So the quality was no good. Two bad ones, one good one only. That one neutral. Because stats say it was good, but there were so many goals early on that you could hardly say, well, why would it be a good one? So we got minus 2.13 units, no good. 2 wins, 2 winners, 4 losers. That's usually more than 2 units, and that's what happened. And here we had 2 winners, 2 lost, and still a very small minus. So altogether we had 2 quality on the sides, 1 2 quality on the goals, 3 4 quality altogether. Which means, well, you have to improve here. We did have some clearly better results already. That's a mistake here, but because, sorry, I didn't correct that, but that's 2.295 and not 2.46 units. At least I'm mentioning it here, while I didn't do it when I did the German version. So that's I should have corrected it, of course, which I haven't done. Anyway, that's 2.295 units. No good at all. Here you see them all in this table format. No, they are not all of them good. What is this one here? Sorry. Something went wrong, that's all. Okay, I'm sorry, but we saw the result for the Bundesliga, for the first Bundesliga. Now all we do is quickly check the second Bundesliga. And there I have a different structure somehow in that one. That's the same thing here. Review that match day, and now we instantly do the evaluation of all the bets. And I'm telling you why and show you this. And maybe that's the thing you are most interested in. Although you lost your money already, so you say I don't care for anything what you do here. But here I got, at least I should have had the correct value, 2.295. Okay, so that's Bundesliga 1, no good quality and losses. Okay, so what can we do? 2-2 quality was Bundesliga 2. We'll see that in a second. 2-1 quality goals. That's turning around the Bundesliga 1 stats. 4-3 quality here, which means we are just even on quality, which is pretty neutral as a result. So we cannot really ask to win money if we are not good in quality. But we did have better bets before. But here the same thing happened. We lost on the sides and we lost on the goals. That's about the same amount of loss as in Bundesliga 1. And here we got all the Bundesliga 2 bets. We had Sandhausen, that was a good one, and the winner, plus 0.97. We had HSV, which was a good one, but we lost it because they just won by 2-1, and we should have beaten this line. Karlsruhe plus 1, that's neutral. Stats were good, result was bad in the end, 3-0. Fürth draw no bet was a bad one, still was even, so we didn't lose it. Heidenheim draw no bet, just a bad one, which we lost, but no good at all. Darmstadt was a neutral one because stats say not so great, but a winner and result was on their side, so we can't complain about that. Here Bochum was a good one. 2 penalties had been missed. We didn't win it. That was a good one. Good one. We won it. That was a bad one. We lost 3-6, 9 goals. No hope at all for an under from the first minute, virtually, when they instantly scored a goal. That's minus 2.19 for that league, and the other one was 2.265, so that's 4.485. I guess that's good, decent calculation here. Yeah, that's exactly the right value. 2.295 plus 2.19, almost exactly. But we're still winning like 14.848 units in 228 bets, which is a yield of 6.58%. And we did have a very good quality. That's why I maybe show you this before we go through the games. I could have done it in the Bundesliga 1 maybe. But now we're here, and if you stayed tuned. And so that's a very good quality, the 20 neutral ones anyway, and then the yield is also pretty very okay, and that's just flat betting here. And here are all the bets or proposals, more or less, because sometimes the prices may have changed and so on. You may have also gotten better prices, but and so on. Here's the bet, here's the line, here's the price, the true price. Here the goals 1-2, so we won that one, and so on. You could check that, but it's well, pretty fair count here. Also in the quality, which was just neutral, 7 good ones, 7 bad ones, which you don't see in the total here. 5 neutral ones are quite many of them, but there's a justification for every single one. And now why I show this is because the 15.01 are confirmed, 6.58% are confirmed here. There's a list of all those bets going up here in that Excel sheet that I just copied the last page in here, more or less. And we did have expected, I did have 127.95 hits, and we did get 126.25. So we missed this one, which means, well, we couldn't say surely now that we are lucky after this. But we also can't complain too much, because that's the number of hits we have to beat to get a plus here, to win, to get some winnings here, and which we did comfortably by 7.5 or 7.341. Okay, that's pretty much. So we could, I mean, well, if you trust that, that's 228 bets and pretty fair. So if you're new to that channel, maybe you still say, okay, there must have been some better weekends before, which there had been. Okay, anyway, now we have the results for that match day, and maybe not too spectacular to look back at every single one, but a couple of new coaches. Nuremberg, well, half or a third of a success, because you get punished for draws by just getting 1 point instead of 3, or that are otherwise shared. And they share just 2 points instead of 3, so they get punished for that. So it's just not a half success or something like that. It's a third of a success with a new coach. But this new coach lost, so I was pretty right that it doesn't help too much, right? And that's what I had been expecting. And otherwise, yeah, we had a couple of these derbies. In Stuttgart, it was pretty okay. They wouldn't, Karlsruhe did a good job. But we say that here, again, 30 goals here, 17-13, pretty regular home advantage. But 3.33 average goals is quite a lot. And of course, responsible for that, mainly that 3-6, otherwise they were pretty regular, but as long as you have such results, okay. Here's the game by game, more or less what they should have, and here you see that although we did have plenty of chances, more or less, for the over, it was still a clear edge to Osnabrück, because Bochum didn't produce the chances, instead Osnabrück did. And in our pretty much pretty regular still. They just scored a couple of goals and won the game comfortably with 3 goals, 1-1. Here, Sandhausen did a very good job, and they very well deserved the point because they were even the better side. If you see in this value, that's how many they should have scored. That's only 1.18, and the away side should have scored. And HSV, well, stats say they should have won by a margin. They had been struggling. They were a goal down after 50 minutes or something like that. Wien, for example, they did create a lot more than expected. Also, Kiel a little more. So actually, it was very good effort by pure stats from Wien, but they were a bunch of goals behind at any point. So maybe that's why the stats were on their side. Anyway, it was no under at all, which we were looking for. Here you can say, well, they did close to what I expected, but also Karlsruhe close enough, was very regular. They lost by 3 goals. Yeah, could have gone otherwise as well. Here, Fürth didn't quite produce that, while Nuremberg produced a little more, so could have gone otherwise. It's one of the most spectacular derbies in German football, so it's hard to predict this one. Market was more or less right here, so it was not a good bet. And here it was an awful bet on Heidenheim, which I showed already before. That was a bad one. They didn't produce, well, it was more or less turned around. I expected Heidenheim to be as much better as Regensburg were in the end. And here Hannover produced some more. Also Darmstadt did a pretty good job. That's why I counted in neutral, because plus 0.4 was an 0.5 line. They were 0.69 goals behind on that line, and the result was on their side, so you can pretty well say it's good enough for a neutral. Anyway, Bochum Osnabrück, we saw that one. 17-21 favor of Osnabrück, 4-7, 7-7, 4-7, 5-6, 45% possession only. So it was just a very good game by Osnabrück, who even should have won by 0.2 goals, which are not distributed at all. Anyway, in our, here you see once again 12-13, very close, couldn't be any closer, 6-8. Favorite to St. Pauli, even 5-9. Also, the expected favorite to St. Pauli, 13-11. Small edge to our possession was fairly okay compared to expected. Tackles went to St. Pauli. I expected a small edge for them. New system as well. And they got a somewhat smaller, very slightly smaller edge. 3-1 they won in the end. Here I expected 15-13, they had 13-15. I mean, those stats went in Sandhausen's favor. Also the crosses in all areas. Just in possession, it was slightly favorable for Bielefeld compared also to expected. But otherwise it was so expected Bielefeld to be in the old system, 0.8 goals, something better, and new system saw much better chances for Sandhausen, and it was pretty right because they were the better side. It was a 1-1. We won this one. We are happy, although maybe even Sandhausen should have won the game. 16-12, you see Dresden did quite well here. 8-3, closer, couldn't be any closer to what I expected. 7-2, also couldn't be closer. In fact, 14-2, that's the crosses that made the difference. Also possession made the difference. Also tackles made some of the difference. I expected them to be like 1.6 goals better. They played even more than 2 goals better. We lost that because 2-1 was not enough to beat the line. In Wien Kiel, we did have those early goals. 5 here, 8, 21, 27. They pulled one back. Oh no, that was another one before that one. And so they traded compliments. How do you say that? Well, and anyway, 2013, 11, 11, just action all over, so no good under at all. In the end, the stats were in favor of Wien, as you see here, but the result was so far away from them that you can't really argue. But all we needed to argue about is the under, which was no good. That's all we need. Here we could argue again, 17-7 is pretty close to expected. 7-2, okay, edge to Stuttgart, more than expected. 8-5 also, well, close, but maybe okay for Karlsruhe. Crosses, they came a little closer. Possession, they did come a little closer. So you can say, well, it was in the end, it was pretty fairly compared to what I expected. Result was but it took them quite a while to score the first one. So I could also count it a good one, which I'm not gonna do. Sometimes I do it like this, sometimes like that. I'm trying to balance that. It's a pretty fair one to not count it a good one, but not count it a bad one as well. It wouldn't be fair to Karlsruhe. Here we didn't have these many chances. The small edge went to well, here or here or here, small edge to Nuremberg. It wasn't so much of a difference between them, which wasn't expected. But in the end, the small edge went to Nuremberg, which is okay. 0-0. I'm not going to count it a good one. It was neutral. It was a bad one. That's all. Here, it was just upside down. I mean, I was wrong. I didn't like Heidenheim. I bet them. Okay, I didn't like them. I mean, I follow the stats, but I was not so sure about them. And here in crosses, they actually were pretty good, but shots was against them. And in possession, they were, well, not as good as expected, although still had a slight edge. I thought they were slightly better. New systems thought they were a little more better, which was not the case because home side was better. 3-1, they converted this to a win. In Hannover-Darmstadt, we did have those 18-10, which are fairly okay, but edge to Hanover 4-8. That one was in favor of Darmstadt. 7-4, close enough, but small edge to Hanover maybe. 24-8, that's the massive one. They just had doubled the amount of crosses I expected. Possession also in their favor. Still, as we did have, I mean, the computer was very optimistic concerning their chances, and they managed to get a result. And I would also, well, seeing the first half, they were doing a very good job, and in the second half, you couldn't expect a lot otherwise than Hanover taking the initiative and Darmstadt defending. So they've done a lot. There was a controversial goal they scored that was taken back. It was disallowed, which was for very silly reasons that I'm not going to explain once again. But referee had a touch to the ball, which was... And we are through already. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. I'm going to keep it short, which I promised, and still didn't keep my promise. Still, I'm going to stop it now.